Good morning. Here from the old Moore Ranch where it's about 5:30 on a Tuesday morning. I'm going to go out here and saddle me a horse and get my dogs, go gather some stock and sort on them a little bit. Their stockyards yesterday, we had 11,400 cattle, and I don't know if there's going to be cattle left or not the way they're selling these things. But, short as this feed is, as high as it is, I can't really blame them for selling them. The market, I'm going to call the market pretty much steady. You might see some on those, especially on the bigger end of the cattle, you probably see those steer cattle be 2-3 lower. Maybe the heifers be 2 or 3 higher. I think that's pretty much the way they quoted it, and that's kind of the way I'd have quoted also. Some of them real stick out kind of cattle that will sure make the grid and bring a big premium, brought a lot of money. Those commodity cattle, just 3-colored, mixed-colored kind of cattle on the yearling cattle, steer cattle especially, would probably be 2, 3, 4 lower. But, we're in such a grid market anymore, and, everybody's scrapping after those grid cattle that'll plus that grid $50 to $100 or $150 a head. And, and we feed a lot of cattle ourselves, so, we're kind of in the same kind of market. If you're an independent cattle feeder and you need to grid those cattle and get that other $100, $150 premium, well, they got some value to them. Those commodity cattle, just mix kind of different colored cattle that don't bring so much of a premium on that grid, they're a little bit more of a struggle to sell. And you'll notice that when you're in the auction, there's a big swing between some real high quality black-hided cattle outsell the rest of those cattle pretty bad in some cases. But the market, we sell those 400 and some pound cattle up to real front end ones up to 250. 500 pound cattle. We might be 3, 4, 5 lower, but the quality wouldn't be as good as last week either. We had some real outstanding kind of cattle, a lot of condition last week. This week, cattle probably not quite as good straight through, but if 5-weight steers bring from kind of, middle 90s up to 225 or 30, 4-weight steers, the bulk of them bring from 220 up to 240. The 6-weight cattle from the big 70s, just on the mixed colored kind of cattle, up to the middle 90s to $2 on the very, very front end of them. 7-weight steers, somewhere in the middle 70s on just the mixed colored cattle. Those real front end cattle up from 185 to 192 and a half. I think they quoted them up there about 185 on the average on the very front end of them. 8-weight steers, that's probably where you can see the big difference. We sell some of those superstars up there in the 80s, but most of those cattle bring from 168 or 9 up to 175 or 6, just depending on the condition in the field. Heifers, a lot of 4-weight heifers bring 185 to 210. 5-weight heifer from 168 or 9 up to 183, 4, 5, just depending on the flesh. 6-weight heifer, 162, 3, up to 175 or 80 on the very, very front end. I'm a 7-weight heifer, kind of 162 up to 172. 8-weight heifer, pretty good demand for them big 8-weight heifers, especially with some meat on them, bring from 158 to 167 or 8 on the lighter end of them 8-weight heifers if they were really good quality. Got a good market. A lot of cattle moving. We're running out a little bit of room, and that's running into a little bit of a problem. We poured so many cattle on them here the first 2 or 3 weeks of the year that a lot of these feed yards are getting full, and they're having a little trouble pinning them, getting the cattle processed, and that's putting a little bit of pressure on the market. And even on some of these lighter cattle that we've been sending these people, they take 2 or 3 loads of them a week, but they get couple of weeks of that and they get up there where they get kind of overwhelmed with processing them, taking care of them, especially in the middle of the winter. We got a little bit of a snowstorm coming, looks like, for maybe next week in the northern plains, and that could put some lot more pressure on this. It's muddy up there. The pen conditions aren't the best. It's a little bit of a struggle, and if you look across the northern plains, a lot of those markets up there aren't any higher than they are here, maybe even cheaper. So the weather has a big bearing on the market in the middle of winter. A lot of people ask me, when should I sell my cattle? I said, we'll sell them on a pretty day where they're going, because that has a huge, huge bearing on what those cattle bring. It can be a beautiful day here, but you got to have some weather, and good weather where they're going, because they can't handle them otherwise. So got to pay attention to that, and you get ready to sell your cattle. It's been a lot of work. We started yesterday morning at 5. We started at 4:30 last week, but we get it done last night about 7:30 or 8 o'clock. I don't know anything to do but get up this morning and go back to work. That's just kind of this works. I like this business and I like doing what I do. So, I'm kind of looking forward to it. Thank you.